Hey, scrappy people, it's Traci right here today, coming at you with a fun stash busting layout for my 2021 Scrap Harder challenge. And one of the challenges is to use a bunch of different lines in one layout. So I have papers from Amy Tangerine, from Studio Calico, from Simple Stories, which I'll be using my magical birthday collection I designed for Simple Stories as well for a lot of the embellishments. And I think I've got Allison Craft in there too, but I don't end up using that paper. So I'm scrapbooking a layout about Finn harassing me until I took him to get some boba. I think he saw it on YouTube or something like that, and he really wanted to try boba tea. And so I had this paper in my stash from Amy Tangerine that has a little boba drinks all over it. And I sat with my husband for a little while we watched an episode of For All Mankind, and Fussy cut out a bunch of the boba teas, which you can see over there on the right hand side. And so now that's sort of my defining color palette for this page, and so I'm sort of working with it. I have this star background that's been in my stash forever, and this pink paper is actually the other side of the star background, so I just decided to use it as well for the base of my page. Now, this page gets a little wild. It's definitely got a lot going on when I get to the end of it, so maybe that's not for you, and that the background paper could have been white cardstock, which would definitely tone down the layout a little bit, but I really thought that it would be fun to include those black stars in there because of all of the black in the photo as well, and that way I could focus on bringing color in with my embellishments but still have the black that is in the photo without having to really think about it. So what I want to do is I want to sort of imitate the mural on the paper or on the photo with the boba teas behind him and sort of have them scattered all over the page, kind of working around the stars. And I thought one way that I could make it really interesting would be to pop up all of these boba teas on pop dots so that they're sort of floating off the page. And then I will take a bunch of other boba teas, a few more, and put them directly on the page instead of popping them all up. And what that does is it'll create two layers of these teas for a little bit more visual interest. You can see now that they're overlapping and they're going in all these different directions, and it's super fun and busy and captures the joy that my kid had when I finally took him to go get boba. So I'm actually going to tell two different stories with this adventure to go get boba. And so this one is just going to be about how he wanted to go get tea, and we finally went and got the tea. And then I'm going to tell this story again in my project life in a different way because there was two different things that happened with this boba adventure. And so I'm always kind of looking at my scrapbooking as a continuum, right? If I have more than one story to tell about a particular event or layout, how can I tell them in different ways in different spaces? So that other story will go in my project life. So now I'm going to incorporate in some of the die cuts and foam stickers from the magical birthday collection that I designed for Simple Stories a few years ago. The colors fit perfectly. Even though it is a birthday collection, there's plenty of embellishments that are not necessarily birthday themed that work really well. And that smile foam sticker is actually my handwriting, and I always find it amusing to how much I hate my handwriting in real life, but then I use it for things like this when I've used it for paper lines or digital kits to use as a title sort of font. So it's fun to have my handwriting as a sticker on the layout as well. So I'm going through all of the die cuts, trying to find ones that will work with this theme and not detract from this theme. So I thought about using "this year kind of a big deal," but I didn't want more big words like that. So instead I'm going to incorporate these toothpick flags that say woohoo and yay. And then I'm going to use this label as my little journaling spot because I'm not going to say too much for this layout, but I do like the way that that square sort of mimics the squares of the papers that I chose, and so it works well to sort of offset that diagonal line as well and spread the composition out throughout the whole page. So I'm going to move this up and I'm going to take out that label. I was going to say Boba makes you smile, but I decided that the title could just be Boba Smile, and I was fine with that too. I'm actually going to move that foam sticker in a minute as well because it's not quite where I want it to be. Now I'm going to take all of these little gold stars, they're like confetti for this theme. I'm going to sprinkle them throughout the bobas as well, just for a little bit more bling and also just to change up the shapes that are in that sort of cascade. Makes it more interesting, more visually pleasing when there's different sizes, different textures, different shapes in compositions like that. So I'm just going to use them all off of this one sheet of foam stickers. So I'm just filling up the page. I need to glue this down as well, and I decide that I need some extra texture. I'm just going to go all in with the insanity of this page, and I'm just going to add in even more texture here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use staples in sort of a messy configuration from my tiny attacher, and I'm going to staple down that banner, and I'm also going to use some string from my sewing machine. I just pulled this right off my sewing machine, and I'm sort of just creating two little string messes, little string clusters. This is going to incorporate a little bit more black into this page, which I felt like it needed. And it's also just going to create a little bit of an interesting twist on the, everything sort of has really like solid lines throughout this page, so it kind of creates an interesting visual texture that helps to break up all of those strong lines. So I'm going to tuck it underneath the photo down here so that it's still going along with the diagonal composition of the page. I'm going to use just straight glue, liquid glue, to stick these down. And now I'm going to start bringing in the staples now that everything is stuck down. And I'm going to messy staple along the edge of this journaling block and also along this paper here. I'm just adding in staples for texture more than anything else, so I want them to be weird and messy and just kind of crazy like the rest of this layout. And of course, my tiny attacher can't quite hit where I want it to, so I'm kind of working around that. Okay, fun. I like it. I've been using staples as texture a lot lately. I felt like these two paper strips were too long, so I'm just tearing them off to make them a little bit shorter, and I think that that really helps the composition as well. And I'm getting close to done here. I'm going to move this smile up because I want it to nest better with the rest of the title. So I'm just going to wrap it around that A. Then I need to add in my journaling, and I'm just about done. I don't think I add in much more here. I'm just kind of fussing with it and making sure that it all goes down right and looks good together. You can see me tapping, thinking, yes, that I knew I'd added one more thing. So I decided to add in 3 hearts as sort of, I always like to do clusters of 3, and I felt like it needed 3 hearts instead of just the one, just to make sure that that wasn't the only heart on the whole page. Anyway, that is it for this video. I'm going to add in my journaling, trim up the string, and call it good. If you enjoyed it, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you. If you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Traci M. Reed. I'd love to see you over there as well, and I will see you next time. Thank you.